¿Qué tal? Soy Fiona Humbert Marshall y bienvenidos a Conversations in Between.
Hola, soy Domènec Romera. Bienvenidos a Conversations in Between.
Morning.
Good morning, Yvonne. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah, good to see you again. We had a wonderful time in Korea last year, and now we are meeting online. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
Thank you so much for being here with us. It means a lot for us,
Really appreciate, yes.
for our project. And so let's begin. Let's begin this new conversation. So we're really happy to have you today. And we were thinking that maybe it's okay for you to introduce yourself as a systemic facilitator, rather than us introducing you. We would love for you to hear from you directly.
Yeah, and so this is also well, you give a little hint as a systemic facilitator, because who are you is such a big question, right? So from what system should I address this question? So let's address this question from the systemic field. So my name is Yvonne Lonis, and I'm a partner in the Bert Hellinger Institute. And it's, I don't know, for over, I think 12 years, 13, 14, I lost count. I started there as a trainee, and I did a training systemic dynamics in organizations, and I already was working in the family field, and I really wanted to explore and deepen my knowledge in the organizational field. So there was only one institute in the Netherlands that could facilitate that properly, and that was the Bert Hellinger Institute. So I went there and immediately felt at home, the way they were teaching and the way their underlying principles were working. So in a way, I stayed. So now I'm a partner in the Bert Hellinger Institute, and I'm still, I really love to be with groups with this work, but also individuals, and doing organization, constellation, but also other interventions. So, and I live here so when I look outside of my window, I'm now in my office at home. So I live in nature. So I see a lake and I see the trees, and and now there's a big bird flying. Well,
Lucky you.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would love to come and do a forest bathing here.
Yeah, please do.
We should arrange that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Yes. So shall we start then with more deeper questions? We would like to know, Yvonne, nowadays, what is the role of Bert Hellinger Institute?
Yeah. So, and right now, the role is in a kind of a transition. And maybe the role of the Bert Hellinger Institute is always in a kind of transition, because we want to move with the stream of society, whatever is happening there or what is needed. So in a way, it's always changing. So for instance, the start of the Bert Hellinger Institute, and this year it's 25 years ago, the role was like spreading the systemic work and constellation work and making it teachable in the world, so people could really, and finding language for it. So really, let's say, making it grow. And nowadays, what we see in the Netherlands and also in other countries, there are many, how do you say, organizations that offer, and people that offer systemic work and constellations. So what need to grow 25 years ago is now like an adult. So we don't need to grow it anymore. And so now it's more deepening the work. And yeah, so it's the vision, the main focus is changed. So now it's more for us in our institute, we are now more on the path of restoring and unraveling and recollecting connections within people, within systems, organization systems, family systems. So this is now what life wants from us. So we are very much in touch with that. It's more about restoring connections so that life can flow freely and is not jammed or stuck or has to be unraveled. Yeah, it's more about restoring.
It's like a systemic demand, no? I mean,
Sorry?
it's like a systemic demand.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
I
pure.
think
It sounds very pure, no? Like you're back to the
yeah,
essence, no, of the
exactly,
systemic work, right?
exactly.
Connecting with that love, no, that we talk about when we somehow we talk about systemic work.
If everything that wants to come through people, systems, society can really freely flow, that's now what our main focus is. Yeah, to restore that. First with yourself, because if you, well, nowadays it's like a lot of people are lost or wounded in a way. And well, whatever is here is also out there. So now we start more from here in order that we can also have this flow in organizations. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds beautiful to us to hear that, and it's true that if I were to think about what you're saying apply to, for instance, other cultures in Europe, such as Spain, since we are in Spain, it also obviously, I just feel like I have to mention the fact that obviously in Holland, there's a much bigger maturity concerning the systemic methodology, the systemic world, the systemic capacity. There's obviously because it's where it was born, no, thanks to Bert Hellinger. So it's a much more mature market. I don't like the word market applied to that, but so it's true that it sounds like you can now connect to this essence, no, to this beautiful purpose and sheer purpose of systemic facilitation, and we from Spain would observe that, no, from this perspective of maybe this wisdom that you can give us, and hopefully we can follow the path, no, of that progress. But there's definitely obviously a difference, and no, and I don't know how you feel, Dome, about what Yvonne
Yeah,
just said.
it's not only in terms of society, but also in organizations. I mean, I look at that market and I and I guess when is it coming to Spain, because we are not mature at all in these terms of what is the systemic approach for an organization. So we go to organizations, we talk about, coaching or team coaching, but it's quite hard to make them understand that there are some tools, systemic tools that are, so interesting to integrate in order to go deeper to the organization. And if we were, working in the Netherlands, that would be not easier, but the path is there. So it's really different. It's really, really different.
And that's one of the reasons why we have this initiative right now, and that's why we also want to hear you, and we
Yeah.
also want people and entrepreneurs and CEOs and leaders and any members of organization that are looking at us and listening to us to know that this is so valuable, and that's exactly the purpose of the initiative today.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
your what is
And
your take on that of other, how is it for you from that
yeah.
point of view?
So it starts with you. It starts with the pioneers, as I consider you are. And like it started 25 years ago with our founder, Jan Jacob Stam and Bibi Schreuder, initiating the Bert Hellinger Institute in the Netherlands. And it starts with pioneers and people with, how do you say it? They hold on and they thrive forward with this work. And then little petals in the river make big circles.
Yeah.
And yeah, so joy to you and cheers to you both for being the pioneer. Yeah. And it will follow because it serves its purpose. And I think that nowadays, in this day and age, with everything that's happening, the need for the connections, the broken connections, to heal them or to restore them or become in touch again with them is huge.
Huge.
Maybe you have the also time on your side, and it's yeah, it's a path. It's that really needs to have all these bricks in order to make it a highway, right?
Yeah.
And also thanks to you and the Bert Hellinger Institute and your work, we also have great mentors to look up to, you know, and thank God we can also like learn from your path, you know, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to keep this connection. And I mean, that was one of the questions we had with Dome, which was, how is it for you to work with, let's say, the legacy, maybe the past from the present, and to connect with this new generation, no, of systemic facilitators? How do you work from that place, from that position?
Yeah. Yeah. So, we are close to our source, Bert Hellinger. We carry his name, and we do this for 25 years. And so we honor his work and the essence of his work. And we are also moving along with whatever comes through society and comes what is needed in society. And so we are always developing and deepening, have a lot of conversations in the work. So last year in November, we went to South Africa with our team, also with the purpose to find the origin behind the origin. And we wanted to go in the footsteps of Bert Hellinger because he lived for 16 years in South Africa, working with in KwaZulu-Natal with the people there, with the Zulu people in the culture, learning the language, writing the language, and so we really wanted to connect with that because we could not believe that the culture and there did not influence him in creating or, well, gathering this work. And so we went there, and it was a very transforming, also transformating. How do you say it? Yeah,
Transform.
also, yeah. So one of the things that we noticed and we saw that he was working as a priest, and he did not write about it in his autobiographic, and which was strange in a way. And what we noticed that he had to stop his work over there because even then he was doing stuff that was not really what was in the conservative Catholic society, what was proper. He really took the Zulu culture in and worked with that. And so he had to, well, they dismissed him. And this pattern repeated also when he started to do the systemic work. Also, he was dismissed by the therapist. So what are you doing, So his way of going through of breaking patterns with the conservative and exploring beyond is really something that is also in the essence of him. Yeah.
The energy that's, sorry, Domingo.
And
No,
also,
you in a way are doing the same thing. I mean, you're
yeah,
just going with that flow you were talking about it, right?
yeah. And what we also really could restore for ourselves is is our respect for nature and being in nature. And so we are now including this. This is our latest, the thing that we are now including in systemic work is connections, restoring connections here, but also restoring our connections with nature. And we also, this was also one of the purposes to go to the South Africa and explore that. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, Dome works with nature, as you know. He does forest bathing. And also I've been working for the last 2 years with Juan and Raquel with horses in a beautiful nature. So for me, for both of us, in different ways, nature is 100% part of our work, actually.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
it's part of us. I mean, we are nature,
Exactly.
right? And as you were talking about nature, I remember one client that I usually go with him, walking around through the forest. And one day he was exploring something, his asunto,
Issue is
his issue. And I said, well, shall we stop here? If you don't mind, just try to take something from the forest. And he started taking, stones, many things. And we did the representation over there. And it was beautiful. I mean, it was just linked to nature, linked to his sense, no? Back to the roots. So it was a representation with mom and dad and brother, and it was so beautiful. And I love to hear that you are connected to that point also. Yeah, I think
it makes so much sense.
yeah,
Yeah. I really like the phrase of Stefan Hausner, and he says there is no either or. So we are nature, as you say, right? And in a way we split things, or we separate us from the other. We separate us from nature. We separate us from our goals or whatever. So I think this work, systemic work, can restore this separation and integrate it all. Yeah.
yeah. There's an artist, an English artist, Walt Smith, I think is the name. He says, we used to say we are disconnected from us, we are disconnected from our essence, and this is because we are disconnected from nature.
Yes.
Once we reconnect to that, which is our essence, we will be connected again.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful sentence.
We really have to learn this again, because it's been a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
that there was like a division, and we really have to learn this again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, great. Now we would like you to talk us about your method and how do you work with clients.
Yeah.
We saw part of that, in Holland, also in Sevilla, but we would like to share that knowledge with the audience.
Yeah.
How do you work? Which is your method?
Yeah. So in a way, you can make it very clear. So I sit on a stool with 3 legs, or I use 3 pillars, as you want to say it like that. So first is the reality of the client. Dus the question, the issue, or whatever is connected to the question. So I hear the question, and while listening, I use the systemic energy, because in this work we are more with our awareness in the things that is not said, or the things that are not expressed, not expressed, let's say. So it's more under the surface than it's the obvious surface. So my energy is also more what I call system energy in what is unknown, what needs to be said, or what needs to restore, or what needs to reorder, or what needs to be remembered, what is excluded that needs to be remembered. And normally this is more in the, well, in the not knowing, it's not conscious. So I use my systemic perception to be with that. So, Bibi Schröder, one of our founders, also have this nice saying when she is coaching a client. She said, you have two ears, and one ear you hear what the client is saying, and in the other ear you hear what is not being said. So it's a kind of like that. So I connect with all the systems that are entangled or are in the equation of the questions. So this is my systemic perception. So I look to the client. What can I really see in his muscles, in his complexion, his breathing? What are the hands or the feet saying? My hands are always talking. And then I also go to all my systemic knowledge. Uh, and I combine those three. So I go to the question, what is being said. I go to my systemic perception, how does my body resonate? And I connect it also with the theory. So if let's say the founder of the organization went away and there was no other person in his place, is there still a void in the organization? And so this is like my theory, like something is a systemic opening, and it's also what I feel in my body. What I could feel resonate, and it's what the client is saying to me. So I'm like I make like a little round or an on about on these three pillars. Yeah.
So you are connecting during
Yes.
the session. You are connecting to the systemic perception, no, the body,
Yes.
the context, what brings the client, and then the theory, the principles, systemic principles. Yeah.
So I'm always with those three pillars, and then of course what is in the client, what do I see here, what is resonating. So if I ask a question, then what is resonating in the body of the client. So I am more with my perception more here and this part of the client than here. This part the client will bring. He has this question, he wants to know why or how. And these questions live here. And I am more, what is ever happening here? Because if the how or the what question or how do I do or why do I do, that's normally obvious. And you can have a good conversation with a colleague or a friend and have a coffee and talk about it. But when it keeps occurring, or when you don't get your head around it, then you need to be here. So yeah. So of course I talk to the client in this way, but I talk more here to the client. Yeah. Whatever his body is showing me, because because the client is like in the system, he has the knowledge of the system in his body. So my focus is more whatever is resonating, more than what needs to be understood.
I'm just saying, like, lucky for us, we're gonna have a live demonstration of your skills. And maybe for many, it's kind of still a very abstract concept that the body has information, even though as systemic facilitator, we now know and we are connected to that information, no?
And I go to that connection you said before. When you start working, there's something, I mean, that happens to you, because then you start in a different mood, no? It's like, oof, you do like a zoom out, zoom in. I would like you to share with us, how is it this moment? How do you prepare yourself? Just in that moment, you get in touch with the client and you start doing the systemic intervention. Because you are very, very, very in that point of connection, right?
So it's nice that you said, because this is really what I do. Yeah. So my preparation is like having this connection with myself, with my background. So I am the second daughter of my parents. I have one older brother. So this is my place as the youngest in our family system. I have a place in my work. I have a place in with the client. So I really take in my place, my full place. And I already told you that my favorite pattern is parentification. So for the viewers, it's a place you go like 2 layers above your own place and be like the mother of your mother or the parent of your parents or the boss of your boss, which is not a place to be because it's not my own place. So I really ground myself. So I also use nature to really ground myself on Mother Earth and also have a connection with whatever is up there. And some people call it cosmos or universe or God or Allah, well, or a clear knowing. So I connect myself like this, and I connect myself from my background to here and my own biographic on my own life where I am now. So it's like a cross I make, and there and from behind until here. So and my breath helps me. So when I do this, well, you cannot see it, but I'm quite small, and so I become smaller still. And then when I have this preparation, then I go into the space next to the client and me and observe whatever is there. And then I go to the client and observe whatever is happening in the body, well, there's still no word, so I observe there and I observe with the background of the client. And you were asking what is your favorite word, and I said yes. My second answer was yes. So for me there, I say yes. I say yes to whatever is happening there, whatever did happen or did not happen, the good, the bad, and the ugly, whatever happens there, I include. So the inner attitude of a systemic worker, this is also important in your preparation, is that you include everything. And if you include, then there comes immediately more space for whatever needs to come to the surface. I am working more here than I'm working there. Of course, I need this. This is the input. And then I need to be here. Yeah. So I include everything. I include also this, of course. If I exclude that, well, then I exclude a part of the client, and then I cannot work. So it's all about including that everything is there. Well, I don't know if this is kind of this is not very concrete, right? But
No, but we will see it work. you will work your magic. So I'm not,
Work.
people that
Yeah.
don't see that, they will. They will be able to. I just want to kind of use that moment that you talked about, the fact of saying yes to everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is no, the challenge
Yeah.
of not judging, of being able, as you say, to include everything in order for the information to reveal, no, to make visible the invisible, right? So we had prepared some questions, and there's just one I wanted to share before we bring in Luis, before we bring the person that you will interview. On more of a personal note, this is a personal question. Because of the training that you have of including knowing how to say yes to the good, to the bad, to the ugly, how is it for you? And this is a question I always wonder on the personal level, with your personal relationship with your friends, and your family, when this moment happens, when there's a family debate, when there is a political disagreement, when there is, a lot of emotion. How is it when you're not Yvonne, systemic facilitator and partner of the Bert Hellinger Institute? Sorry, I'm just very curious to know how is it possible for you to connect immediately to this other part of yourself? If you're the daughter or the friend, how does it work for you?
Yeah, nice question. Like, of course, we're all human beings, right? And of course, sometimes I get into my judgment, and I have a choice. So I could stay there, like let's say I'm with a friend and having a coffee, and he says something that really does not match with my political view or point of view. I have a choice. I can stay there and maybe disconnect the relation, or, and then comes in the more systemic approach, I can put myself in a place of how or why is he or she so connected to this truth. So for whom or for what is he unconsciously, subconsciously working so hard? It's about loyalty.
Mhm.
And I remember when it was in the COVID period, and it was in the time that the Netherlands were opening a little bit, so we could do our work again, but with the things,
Mask.
yeah, how
Asks.
do you say it in English? I don't know, but with
Mask.
all the stuff we had to prepare, and with the distance, well, we all been there. And we had all these rules, and then one of my participants came, and I was already in like half a year with this person, a great guy, and he came in and he wanted to hug all the his fellow participants. And I said, oh, no, no. And then he started talking in a way to me that I could not remember him, with all this, how do you say, all these things about it's a chip, and well, all this theory. Yes,
Conspiracy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought, who are you? And I was first overwhelmed and shocked. And I had to say, no, if you want to behave in this way, I will exclude you. You cannot come into the room if you want to behave in this way. There are rules now. I'm sorry, but we have to abide them. And he was still going on, so I had to exclude him. And for a while, I was very judgmental of all the people that were having this point of view. And then it bugged me, and like I don't want to be in this place of judgment or hate, or well, not a good place to be. And then I try to look into myself. What am I doing? So I was very loyal, in my point of view, to all the people that were working so hard in all the hospitals, and were dying themselves because of the infection, and I also worked in care, so I was connecting to that field and was loyal to them and could not be in the place of, well, where I could see both. So I did it to myself, and then afterwards I could, well, I was out of contact with this participant because we had excluded him from the training. And so I tried to, what are these people who are so in this theory, where are they unconscious loyal to? And that gives me space and not make it personal. So this is what I do then, but only when I want to do it, because it's a choice. We are all human beings, and judgment helps us. You know, it's also, it learns what your inner loyalties, where your inner loyalties lie. Yeah.
It's like an alarm system, no?
Yeah. And I am very thankful that I have this choice, that I can be also in a state where I can look at both.
Yeah.
But first, you have to really connect to your own loyalty, and what puts you in the other camp, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To understand the other person, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. That was a personal question, but I really wanted to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, there are no personal questions, huh? It's all related. Yeah.
This also connects me to, I've been hearing lately, last weeks, many people talking about love. And
Well,
wow,
it's the 15th of February today, right? It's
yeah,
Valentine's.
Day of love, of course.
but no. That connected what you've already said. It connects me to love. No, again, that looking the others with love. I mean, making that distance, which are their loyalties,
Yeah.
which are your loyalties.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And that's the point, the disruptive point. We're here and here. It's all about loyalties, of course. Maybe that would be very challenging for you to take someone out from the practice, as you already told, out from this guy. You had to say him, hey, hello, I'm sorry, but this is compulsory, and you have to leave the class or wherever. And I was wondering, maybe you've got very challenging, big challenge while facilitating, while doing facilitations. And I would love to know if there's been any challenging situation that made an after and before in your career.
Yeah. So I have to think about this. So what pops up, it's quite a long time ago, when I was not in the Bert Hellinger Institute yet, and I was working with another colleague with constellations. We had a small organization, and doing workshops and interventions. And one time in a constellation, and I don't remember the client and the question again, but he brought in and we were doing the constellations together. So we were like a duo. And he brought in a representative for the truth. And well, the representative came in and did things, and then it was done. And this was for me the deal breaker, because this work is not about truth or solutions, or now we know it, or like playing a detective, wanting to. So this is really for me. And then I said no, this, and I could not have the right words then. I think it's like 12 years ago. But in a way, I felt this is not for me, doing the work in this way. And then we had a good conversation, and we stopped, we broke our. And then I went to the Bert Hellinger Institute, I remember right now. So yeah, and the rest is history, right? But this for me was very obvious. I don't want to be in a way that there needs to be a clear solution or truth. It's not about that. Yeah.
It's more an approach, no? Something to.
Yeah, and maybe it gives like more space so that the client can find his own solution. For me, this is important. I am not in my facilitation the advisor. And of course, there are systemic advisors, but this is not how I want to work.
We're wondering, what is your vision of the future of systemic work?
Yes, that's a big question. Yeah. And I think that it's to go beyond constellations. And I think that, and it's what we see here in the Netherlands, and I'm very glad to have this movement here, is that it's more about systemic awareness than it's about constellations. So what we see here in big organizations and also from our government departments, different government departments, there are like systemic hubs inside of the organizations, inside of the departments of the government. And they work from the inside. So it's like now there's this organization and we go in, the systemic workers, if you are a consultant or you do a workshop or whatever. But now we see that it's the systemic knowledge is in the organizations. So people that work there, they are trained in a systemic way, they gather, they have like systemic hubs. And there are a lot of examples here in the Netherlands. And I think this is a very great way to have systemic work. So not from the outside going in, but it's already in the organization. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that sounds
So we
a
train
dream.
these hubs, we train these people that most of them, they had their trainings with us and they were fully committed to systemic work. And they are employed in, let's say, a department of our government, and they meet inside of the organization and they organize themselves so that the organization can use them. So we don't need to go there as an external systemic facilitator. No, they are already in the organization. So there's a nice example in a part of the government. So when there are questions about which road do we need to have in the Netherlands or the bridges, it's this what they do, then they want to explore it more in a systemic way. Then let's phone and let's have a meeting with our colleagues who have this systemic view. And then they work on their issues in the inside in a systemic way. So in this way, it's in the organization. And I think this is a very lovely way.
Wow, it sounds amazing. And from where in the organization does it happen? From we imagine from the human resource maybe departments, or does it come from the leaders? Does it come from in-house coaches? How does it get there?
All those things. And in every organization, it's different. But it's also pioneering, what we were saying earlier. So they come to us, they have the training, they are committed, and they pioneer in the organization, and they find more colleagues who have systemic knowledge, and then they offer it to the whole of the organization. Yeah.
That's impressive, huh,
Like the
actually.
Department of Taxes, it's in defense, it's in road, I don't know how you say it.
Engineering.
Yeah, engineering, and it's in different organizations, in hospitals. Yeah, I think this is so systemic awareness is in the organization instead of they are.
Sector. Yeah. So
We
you're
are
talking about,
almost in the same point, huh? In Spain.
Yeah,
Such a huge difference. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think and Oh, I really love restoring the connections with yourself. I think this is also, if we put it in more the personal field, I think this systemic work can really restore broken connections, and also from big global issues. Like my colleague Barbara Hogeboom is really working now with our colonizing past, and working there on these issues. And another colleague of mine is working in the environment system, and pollution, and how to really have systemic knowledge and interventions there. So, well, this is the future, I think. Still on the personal, restoring of connection in organizations, and then from the inner of the organization, and adding to the global questions we have. Yeah. And also what we see, we have now a different business in our business. It's the Systemic Business School, where we train leaders, so not consultants or facilitators, but leaders from organizations. They come to us and we train them how to put the interventions from the inside. And we
Nice.
Systemic Business School.
That's more also on the, I imagine, on the private sector, no?
And
How would you say is, just out of curiosity, because you talk a lot about the public sector, which is fundamental, obviously.
but also the private, it's both. It's
Private,
both.
right?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
is it balanced out? It evens out. There's as much interest from the private than the more or less.
Yeah. I think so. I think so. Well, it's also the big companies with the technical companies, or having a product. Yes. It's they're all opening up to this work. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is the yeah.
I
And
remember actually when we went to Holland and the workshops, I remember working in small groups with in very interesting and impressive curricular personalities, such as head of hospitals, big CEOs of private companies. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is impressive. The will, no, and the gathering, and if you think about it, just the fact of being able to reunite all those different profiles of high people that are going to then work with all sorts of different groups, people, and so on, gives them such a wide, open perspective. And it just, it can only help so much into,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
So it's not about interventions, but systemic leadership, having leaders on a higher level, because you have to be there, you know. So it's very hard when there's only one people in HR who had a training and is shouting, hello, hello, but he or
exactly.
she is alone. It's hard,
Of course,
So when you have the leader, so now we are trying to attract leaders from
Mhm.
from big companies, and not to come in our normal curricular, but we have the Systemic Business School, so they really can connect there. And we only want leaders from higher ranks, not only, but we have these curriculums for them, so they also can together they can pioneer in their own
Yeah,
organization.
at their own service, the service of their own companies, of course.
Yeah,
This business school that you call, is it called, it's like the business school of the Bert Hellinger Institute?
yeah. Systemic Business School. Yeah.
And how long has it been?
I
Just
think 2 years now.
okay,
Yeah, 2 or 3 years. Yeah. So it's quite recent.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Because not everybody wants to have to do constellations.
Of course.
And it's about the systemic leadership, the systemic awareness, just including and looking uh, through the systemic lens to see all the different influences and including that. Yeah.
And would you say this is maybe one of the biggest project for the Bert Hellinger Institute into the future? Like if you were to think of the future challenges from your point of view, belonging to the Bert Hellinger Institute, what would be for you the biggest challenge in the next 5 years, let's say?
Well, for me, it is ending. For me personally, yeah, I think it's ending.
What do you mean by ending?
Yeah, what do you
Well,
mean?
retire.
Ah,
Yeah. You know, there is this pattern in systemic work. Look at Bert Hellinger, when 93 and still working until his passing. Well, no, not for me.
Okay.
I will retire a bit earlier than that. Yeah.
more time in the garden,
Yes.
more time in nature.
And making, and well, it sounds like I'm a good girl, but it doesn't mean like that, but also making stage for the next generation.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So yeah, well, 5 years is a bit too far away from me. Then I'm for sure in my garden. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. There's
5
always
years.
there's always this question we ask at the end of the conversation, and it has to do with what you're saying about giving the place to the next generation, which is very generous, once again. If you were to start today as a systemic facilitator, what would you have liked to be told or to be given as an advice?
Ah. Hmm. Well, yeah. There's only one sentence, and it's a kind of well, I'm gonna say it. So what pops up is stay close to yourself.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Thank
can close with that. I mean, it's a good advice from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yvonne, thank you very much for your time, for being here today, for sharing your wisdom, your systemic wisdom, and see you in 2 weeks' time, I guess, to do the systemic intervention.
Yeah. Let's see what will come from that.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It
Thank
was
you.
wonderful to be able to share. I really enjoyed my time this morning with you. It was very nice to exchange. And it's just such a fascinating, we're so lucky. I just always feel so lucky to be able to, go deeper and learn and spread. And I'm really listening to all the things that you've shared about the path, the maturity of Holland and the Institute and your work. There's a part of me that's like, oh my God, this is so big compared to, to Spain, to where the moment we are here. But we're there and it's just
Yeah.
about trusting and we just have to believe we believe, but sometimes I just have to trust that we will slowly but surely make a difference and help others make a difference.
Yeah. And I'm sure that you are already there. And I really want to applaud all your pioneers in Spain and all the other people that I come to know and in your country. And really, you all already are maybe more than that you think. Because if you are in comparisons, then you grow away from where you are.
Yeah.
So
Stay close. We stay close. We will stay close.
yeah.
I'm connecting. Look, I'm connected.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much, Yvonne.
Take good care, Yvonne. See you very soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.